Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to another episode. And the episode is in the series Dawah ilallah, how to be effective in dawah. And we're going through a book written on Dawah ilallah, and we've been looking at different points that the author has raised in this series that he's done. And we are now looking at the character that we are calling people to. And at the same time as calling those people to this character, we must have these characteristics ourselves. So it's the characteristics of a da'i and the characteristics that we are wanting to give other people when calling. So we can do both at the same time. When we are calling to people, we are thinking, have I got these aspects in my life? Now, last time we were together, we were speaking about the cover of the Bhagavad Gita, and how the cover of the Bhagavad Gita has, in most countries, it has a picture of a man pulling in 5 different horses, and each horse is supposed to represent different senses. And we said that in Islam, it is fine to have senses and to allow our senses to have enjoyment, but as long as we are controlling those senses, don't let them go wild. We don't want to be like monks that don't allow our senses ever to be gratified in any way, but we don't want to over-gratify. So we have to be very, very cautious on what we do with our senses, because there is a lot of mischief going on. There's a lot of whispering that goes on, and we allow ourselves to give into lusts of the flesh. We give into lusts of desire for possessions. Lust is not only to do with sex or sexuality, it also has to do with lust for power, lust for possessions. So the word lust is a very big term. It's not just confined to one thing only. So there's many things that we need to take control of. So we're looking at when we as da'is are going out there, we need to have control over these issues in our lives. We have to be masters of this in our lives. And when we are calling people to Islam, these are the qualities that we want them to have as well, inshallah. That we want them to have control over their senses, specifically their senses of chastity, how to keep themselves chaste, not to be people who give into their desires. And so when we are speaking to people, we'll try to urge people not to do things that are illegal, not to engage in things that are against the teachings of Allah. So we want them to do things that are righteous, that are not against what the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ told us to teach people. So we want to make sure that when we start talking to people, that we don't give them too many no's, but that we give them more yeses. But if we see people involved in activities or things that we know are haram, we need to gently guide them. But we cannot force them to come over. We can't force them to change. We've got to do it in a gentle way. So we want to help them get control of their senses. There are many, many ideas and ways that we're going to help. And the more the person that you are talking to trusts you, the more you'll be able to help them. But you need to help yourself first if you're going to be going out there and doing this. So this applies to you before the person you're calling. You need to have victory in this part of your life. In other words, you have to have accomplished the solution to this area in your life already. So you shouldn't be one having issues with this. If you're having issues with this, you have to be even more cautious. In the Christian faith, when the Christians go out and do their propagating of their religion, they normally go out 2 by 2. You'll see them going in 2 by 2s, maybe sometimes even 3. And they do this for a reason, to protect themselves from maybe putting themselves in situations where lust can come in. There was a woman from the UK who came to me online, and she wanted to ask me questions online, Christian woman. And so the first sentence when she asked me about Islam, I answered her, and then I said, refer to this sister in America who will be able to help you further. And she said, I don't want to speak to a sister in America. She read my story, she wants me to help her. And I said, I'd love to help you, but I'm really busy, but can I give you this sister? So you see, the whole time you're referring them back to the sister. You do not continue, no matter what they say to you, no matter how they flatter you, no matter what nice things they say about you, you keep referring them to somebody else. You understand? Do not be caught in the trap. Shaitan is the master of deception. He will do anything that he can possibly. He'll get you a supermodel to come and ask you questions about Islam. He'll do anything, whatever it takes to crush you, whatever it takes to stop you from being effective in your dawah. He will do it. Beware of men. Beware of women. Women, be careful of men. Men are up to no good. Men, be careful of women. They're up to no good. Shaitan will use them against you. So refer. The only option available. No matter how much they tell you what a great person you are, how you make the most sense, everyone else I've spoken to never made as much sense as you did. You've explained Islam in a way that no one else has ever explained it. That's what they'll do. That's not her speaking. It's not him speaking. It's Shaitan saying, tell him this now. Tell him that now. Tell how clever she is. This is what Shaitan does. Do not fall for the trap. Be very, very cautious. So make sure you run a mile. Don't stick around for trouble. So we need to protect our own chastity first and foremost. So you know what the worst thing is? Some of our brothers, it's like women are made of kryptonite. You know kryptonite does to Superman? It makes him all stupid. I mean, as soon as kryptonite, green stone gets out, he's got no power. And he just falls on the ground like useless. And so some men are like that. Muslim men are like that. When they see a woman and they see him, they just look down on the ground and they don't, like, she doesn't even exist on planet Earth. Okay, so must be cautious, be careful, be careful. Shaitan is clever. However long the earth has been around, millions of years, thousands of years, more practice than you have. You're only 30, 20, 40, 80, whatever it is. You got no experience. He's much smarter than you are, no matter how good a Muslim you are. So be cautious. Identify the signs. We need to have a course called Identify the Signs of Shaitan and identify the traps of Shaitan, because he is smart. Very, very clever on what he does. And so this is one area that you will have to be perfect on. Not that you'll ever reach that perfection, but as much as possible. So you need to, again, do that test with the needle. Remember, how do you see if you're dead to something? You prick yourself. If you react, you're still alive. So if you find yourself, you say, okay, now I've got control of my senses. I'm not going to do immoral things. I'm not going to do things that are going to be bad. You need to still test it. You must test yourself first. How are you able to deal with it? So you must make sure you are strong when you're going out and doing your dawah. Okay. So basically what we see is Allah is calling people to have control over their senses, to have control over whatever drives they have in their lives. And so we have to have controls over our impulses, our urges. Some people, okay, I know I'm going to say women, they're going to get very upset. Some women have urges to spend money. Maybe it's their own money, but they still have urges to spend money. My brother is like this. And he won't mind me saying this, because I tell him this and we both laugh about it. But if he sees it, he has to have it. He doesn't know how to control his urges. And I say to him, but you've got to learn. You're married now. You've got children. You have to control your urges. You can't just go buy a nice new fishing boat because somebody else has one. You can't go buy a new motorbike because somebody else has one. You can't go buy a new topi because his topi looked better than my one. You've got to have control of your urges. You must be careful even when spending. You are accountable for everything in life. So be very, very cautious. People laugh at me, and probably some of you at home and say, what is that big massive thing on the table that's in front of him? This is an old device. It's like 2 years old already. Everyone goes, you need to get with the age. These things are paper thin now. Why you got such a thick one? I don't care. There's much more important things to spend money on. We have to be cautious on our spending. Don't just buy it because it's out there. Don't just buy it because it's the trend. So we must be cautious of even the way we have our urges to spend money. Just because whoever bought out a new mobile phone doesn't mean you have to go buy it. You understand? I have a friend in South Africa, one of my teachers, Musai Dawud. His phone looks like it comes out of 1920. It's one of those old big brick phones still. He's got one of those old ones. And I say to him, please, just get a new phone. And he's like, yeah. But I know he'd rather spend money on something else. See, so he's a good example of that. That's not why I've got this one, but I'm just saying, he's got an old phone. So don't always go for your urges. There's other things that you can rather do. And so when we see it, the way that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, being the role model of what the Quran is teaching, being the role model of what Allah wants in for our life, he taught us to have control over these urges, and that we should be cautious and what we let our bodies and our eyes and our ears and our minds wander into. Youngsters that are at home, this is for the youth. There is great danger on the internet. The internet is a wonderful tool, but there's great danger on the internet. As you've already heard, Cyber Nanny has warned you, everybody's warned you, CNN has warned you, everybody has warned you the dangers of the internet. If you're serious today and you really, really believe that you should change your life, and you're sitting at home as a youngster and you want to become a better Muslim, but you know that what you're doing on the internet is not good, whether you are on chat lines, whether you're looking at things you shouldn't be looking at, whether you're ordering things that you shouldn't be ordering, whatever it is, not just talking about pornography, there's many other things that you do on the internet that are haram. You want to change. There is a program that you can download, and it's very cheap. Some of them are free and some of them not so cheap. I'm not going to name the program, but I'm going to tell you how to look for it. What it does is it analyzes what you've been looking at over the last month, and it emails it to a friend of yours. So whatever you've been doing over the last month, it sends a log history of all the activities that you've been doing over the month, and it sends it to a friend of yours. Why would you want to do this? So your friend can prevent you from doing things that you shouldn't be doing.